Lenn Scholz. I'm the Vice President of Product Development and Engineering for Boston Whaler. I've been with the company for just over 20 years in a number of different roles. And my current role, I'm responsible for all of the new design, engineering, building and testing of prototype boats and preparing them for production launch. So it's a great company to work for. Boston Whaler is an iconic brand, a legendary brand. And what makes Boston Whaler so unique in the market is the legendary unsinkability of the product. We have several different families of product. This boat that we're on is a 32 Vantage. We also have Dauntless models, which are center console, Outrage center console, Montauk, the classic legendary symbol of Boston Whaler, which is also a center console, and then we have Conquest, which are cabin boats, and small runabout dual console called Super Sports. So that's the current portfolio. As we look forward into the future, we have a portfolio plan laid out that goes out 10, 15, 20 years. So we have a good idea of where we want to take the brand from a product standpoint. The next 3 years is very solid. The next 5 years is fairly solid. 10 years, not so much, but we're looking that far into the future to see what type of product we can bring to market and also look for the opportune moment to replace models in the family. So for the next 10 years, 15 years, we've got a good understanding of where we want to go with the brand. And Boston Whaler in the marketplace is a premium product. It's in a group of boats that are typically more expensive than some of the other boats you'll find in the market. And what makes Boston Whaler fit that type of market is just the overall quality of the boat, the fit and finish of the boat, the foam. The entire hull is filled with foam. There's cost associated with that, and just the robustness of the hardware and the reliability that you get out of the product. Other things to take into account when you buy a Boston Whaler is they hold their value extremely well. So from a resale standpoint, it really is a good investment. Boston Whaler, as part of the portfolio planning process, follows a very structured development process also. So all of our new programs start with voice of the customer. We go out to the marketplace and we talk to customers. We get their insights from their product based on how they use their boat, and then we take that back and we evaluate the data, evaluate the things we've heard, and that's what we use to shape the initial design of a new product. Design starts with some very clean sheet, any idea is a good idea, kind of brainstorming, and the design team is the best in the industry. The initial images that they come up with can be pretty far out sometimes, but it starts to shape the general theme for the boat. So after that step in the process, they really get into zeroing in on a specific design, and again, it's fueled and fed by the voice of the customer. But one thing we do that is unique in the industry is we also have what we call a dealer design team. So there's about 10 or 15 dealers that we kind of partner with during the design of a new product that will come to Boston Whaler for a 2-day session, and we'll review the entire design of the new boat with the dealers. And what we also do at this phase is we build full-scale mock-ups. So, for example, the 32 Vantage a couple years ago was in our prototype shop, built completely out of plywood and cardboard. But it was full-scale. You could sit at the helm, you could reach for the throttle, and it's just a good way to make sure that you're comfortable with the ergonomics and the space allocations on the boat, because you're getting really close to starting to invest in the hard tooling to build the boats. So the dealer design team, we get input from the dealers just like we do from our customers, and they're a good spot. They kind of check to say, yeah, everything you heard from your customers resonates with me for my market. Katie and Alessandro are on those teams, so we always take into account the European markets as well, and we incorporate those kind of features into the boats. After design, the company approves the program, so we call that a Gate 2 approval, and this is where all of the cost of the program, all of the cost of the boat, how much labor is it going to take, what are we going to charge in the market, all of that is tied up, so it's more of a program review. And then once we get an approval on the Gate 2 design, we go into the core of engineering. So in engineering, we've got naval architects, we've got structural engineers, we've got mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. We've got a compliance department to make sure that the boats are meeting, NMMA and CE and ISO standards. So engineering takes the design and creates it into the boat that we're going to build. Through that process, we have a 3D, we have three-dimensional geometry of the entire boat, and we send those files out to a 5-axis router, and they actually start cutting the boat for us, the tools. Our tooling process is unique, specifically in the hull, because of how much pressure the foam puts on the molds. So we spend probably 2 or 3 times more on our hull molds than the average company. Again, speaking to the cost of whaler. It costs more to prepare to build a new boat. So through engineering, all of the systems are laid out, all of the structures laid out, and we're getting ready to build the tooling that ultimately builds our test boat. The test boat is built for a number of reasons. One, it verifies the fit of all the components on the boat, but then another thing we do that is unique in the industry is every boat that we build will run for 100 hours offshore endurance testing. So if you crossed yesterday, those sea conditions were perfect testing conditions, and we'll do that for 100 hours. And on average, our customers might put 10, 20 hours on their boat a year. So we're accelerating the age of the product. So we're putting 3 to 5 years of running into a very compressed time of 3 or 4 weeks. And we do that to make sure that things like hardtop structures and the hull and all of that is very solid before we ultimately sell the boat to the consumer. At the end of the testing, we're getting ready for production, and we go through another gate. So Gate 2 is the design gate. Gate 3 is the production readiness gate. So that's where the business is taking a look at the boat, discussing any issues that we may have for production launch, and we'll ultimately get a go decision to start the boat in production. The time it takes to get from the original VOC to this point in the process can vary. The 32 Vantage took about 1.5 years to get through, where the 42 Outrage was just over 2 years. So a small boat like a 24 Dauntless can be 10 months. So the length of time depends on the complexity and the size of the product. But when we go to production, then the boats get built. We start by laminating the hull. The hull and the inner liner come together. They're clamped together, and then the foam is injected, and it fills the entire cavity. Then that hull is parted, and it goes into a finishing operation. We'll buff it and get it nice and shiny, and then it rolls into the assembly building where, in a number of stations, the team just puts the boat together. So usually start with below deck systems, put the deck on the boat, put the windshield and hardtop on. Any boat that has a generator or electronics or joystick piloting will go to the water for a test before it's shipped. But then ultimately the boat's detailed and wrapped for delivery to anywhere in the world. So that's the 2-minute or so high-level overview of the process. It's a great process that we follow, and again, it all starts with our engagement with our customers, and that's really the reason that a lot of the product we've been coming out with for the past 5 to 10 years has been so successful, because it's delivering on what the customer's expecting, and it's meeting what's going on in the market today with the trends of boat usage.